Today we're talking all about the Poseidon X gravel bike. This is the 2022 model, and we're going to be going through, breaking down a lot of different stuff, showing you what you get for your money and kind of how this bike performs as a whole. I did do a specs breakdown video that you can find up here in the info card. Today we're kind of going to be focusing on my overall impressions of this bike and just kind of how it feels from a rider's perspective out on the road. So this thing is perfect for that person that doesn't want to spend a lot of money. This thing's around 750 bucks on Poseidon's website, but this thing is just great. So if you're looking for that new gravel bike this year, please take a look at this bike, and hopefully this video helps you out in making a determination on whether you want to purchase this bike or not. All right guys, we'd love to have you join the channel, so subscribe, turn on the notification bell, like the video if you do, and then let's dive into this. I will say this thing does very good on the gravel. I mean, it handles like a road bike does on the road. This thing just kind of stays planted with these Kenda small block tires. Really does good on the gravel. This carbon fiber fork, you know, it does soak up some of the bumps and stuff. Let me go through these ruts. Like, that is pretty darn rough, but that fork did help out some, and these kind of small block tires where they are a little bit beefier than a normal road tire did work pretty good. I don't know if I've ever seen a drivetrain shift so smoothly, like up and down. This thing is just flawless. And I haven't even tuned these things in yet. Like, it's almost, you almost can't even hear that you're shifting up. It's that smooth. If you just barely touch it with your finger and it's shifting. There's no lag in the gears. There's no loud noises, creaking, cracking, all that. It does what it's supposed to do. Which I was kind of surprised by the Poseidon X system. I wasn't sure if it was going to shift like some of my other higher end bikes. You know, I love my Dior system. It's on my mountain bike. But honestly, this thing shifts way smoother than that thing does. And I haven't even tuned on this at all. It is that good. I was very, very surprised. So that's one of the biggest positives of this bike. Whatsoever. All right, we're going to slow down and go through all the gears all the way up, then we'll slow down and go all the way down. Okay, we're all the way down right now. Very low gear. So first is really low. We're going to start gaining speed, going through these gears. There we go, and it's just digging in. All right, and that's all the way to the top gear. One awesome thing about this bike is that it has drop bars on it. So this is going to give you the ability to switch hand positions quite often, especially on those long rides. Right here, I'm switching up to the tops from the hoods, and you can also go on down to the drops if you're really wanting to get more aerodynamic and get lower on the bike. And this is really comfortable in this position as well, and you can really gain some speed on those top speed type of rides and really take advantage of the lightness of this bike. But for the most part, I like to ride up here on the hoods because I find it to be the most comfortable on this bike. And if none of those hand positions do it for you, just go with no hands. It works just as good too, until you go to turn. I find this bike to be very nimble on the road and on the gravel. It just seems to handle very, very well. And even with the drop bars, you know, not known for being super nimble, this thing does the job pretty good. And especially if you were going to take this out on some more technical stuff, having those drop bars with the 24-degree flare is going to give you more stability and the ability to make those quick, nimble turns. So if you're into carrying a lot of water bottles on your bike, this thing does have 6 mounting options to carry water bottles, as well as mounts for a rear rack that you can attach to it if you're into that real long cross-country type stuff where you're going to be riding super long distances, maybe even backpacking. This bike is also really good when it comes to standing up and actually doing some sprints with the bike. You know, I found the drivetrain to be very well suited for this. Even though it's only 10 speeds with the 1x up front, I didn't find myself running out of gearing too easily. I mean, I would have to be a lot stronger and be a lot more fit and just overall endurance to really maximize the gearing on this thing. It's pretty good the way it comes. But man, after riding this bike for like 2 months, this thing is just awesome. I don't know if you can get another bike out there for 750 bucks or less that's gonna compare to this bike. This thing is just that good. And I don't even know where to start. I know I did a specs breakdown video on this bike and gave you some of my first impressions and stuff like that. But after continuing to ride this thing does not disappoint. And I did finally get in my front disc brake. So once again, that wasn't Poseidon's fault. That was definitely the carrier's fault. And then it was my fault because I just moved. I had my mail forwarded. And so it took me a long time to actually get the disc. But we have it installed now, and it still doesn't work great, but the disc brake is there. So the brakes still are the weakest point of this bike. But overall, this is a great bike, minus the brakes, and it's gonna be a really good bike for you. So it's a 1x drivetrain, which keeps it simple. I don't have to worry about any kind of shifting over here with my left hand. It's all over here on the right side, and it's just really smooth. Look, it just downshifts, amazing. And then upshifting, it's just a quick push of this button and we're gaining speed. It is that easy. So I would definitely say my favorite part of this bike is definitely the group set. Now the crank set that comes on this thing is one of the weak points. It has smoothed out some since I got the bike, but it's not great. The crankset that comes on this thing is a pro wheel crank that has a square taper bottom bracket, which is not my preferred type of bottom bracket. This bottom bracket, like I said, it has smoothed out, but it still has some of those creaking, popping noises and things like that, just because it's not a very well-tuned type of bearing system, and it's heavy. So this bike does come in at 24 pounds for this medium frame. For a large frame, it's around 25 pounds. So give or take there, you're gonna shed some weight, I do believe, if you went to a different type of bottom bracket. So that's one thing we're gonna look to do in an upgrade video, is convert this over to a Holotech and probably put a Shimano Sora or a Claris crankset on this thing just to smooth it out. Another one of my favorite things about this bike is the bars. These bars are awesome. They have this 24-degree flare to them, and the grip tape that's on these things are just awesome. It's very grippy. It's very durable feeling. It's not like you go to Walmart and feel the very thin foam that they have on their bars. It's not like that at all. These are really nicely wrapped bars. All right, let's see how good the speed is on this thing. So right there, we had it in the highest gear that we could go, and I still had tension and enough room to keep going faster if I could. But that was completely flat ground, and I was expelling a lot of energy doing that. So the gearing on this thing is not that bad. And if you did want to go from this 38 tooth chain ring up front to maybe a 40 tooth or 42 tooth chain ring up front, I think that would give you an extreme amount of flexibility in how the top end gearing of this thing is. So, but like I said, 38 tooth is working perfect. And I don't think I don't even know if I'm going to change out the chain ring or not. May just keep this 38 tooth after we convert it to a Sora or a Claris crank set. And the rear derailleur is a clutched derailleur. And being a gravel bike, you're going to want a clutch derailleur just to keep your chain from coming off that chain ring too. It's going to keep that tension. Very, very upgradable. That is another thing I love about this bike is, you know, it has a tapered head tube on it to where you can change this out for any type of tapered steer or fork, especially most carbon forks that are on the market right now. And it's just an awesome upgradable frame overall. Even Poseidon sells a Poseidon even sells a through axle conversion kit for this thing. So you can buy the fork and the new dropouts for the rear that convert it to a through axle, and they provide the through axles for it as well. And I think it's only like 175 bucks for the entire kit. So pretty cool deal there if you're looking to maybe run your through axle wheels on this. Maybe you already have a road bike that has a through axle set on it. You could throw those wheels from that bike onto this thing, and then you got you a road bike too. So if you're looking to just lighten it up a little bit and use it for road use only, there you go. You got a light set of wheels then. Okay, we're gonna show you the brakes and show you how bad these things are. This is by far the worst part of this bike. And other than the brakes, I don't know if there is another bad part of this bike. Honestly, I'm thoroughly impressed with every aspect of this bike except for the brakes. So let's show them to you right now. And I do have the front brake on now. Like I said, it was bent and I had to order a new one, but we're gonna show you right now. So we're gonna get some speed and we're gonna try to do a full stop as hard as we possibly can. And I'm even gonna get down in the drop so we can put some good pressure on these things. All right, so you saw that was pretty crazy sounding, pretty loud, and it took a long time for these things to stop. The front brake on this thing is almost non-existent. Look at that. Doesn't do anything, which I guess is a good thing if you're looking to not get thrown over your bars. You're not going to, because these things do not grab at all. So these Tektro brakes are bar none the worst I have ever seen. And I have Tektro brakes on my mountain bike. Now granted, they're hydraulic brakes and they are just awesome. But these super cheap Tektros, garbage, garbage, garbage. So if you're gonna get this bike, look for my next video I'm gonna post for the upgrade video of this. We're gonna be installing compressionless brake housing, and that is going to pretty much take out that hard to stop feeling that these brakes have. It's going to make it easier for the cable to slide through the cable housing, and it's going to smooth things up a little bit, almost as if they were hydraulic brakes. I know one thing that comes up when you're looking for a new bike is going to be wheel size. What is going to be the best wheel size for you? So these bikes do come with a 700C size wheel by, I think it's 35 mils, maybe 38 mils. But anyway, it's more suited for the road, I would say, than it is for gravel. But nonetheless, this thing does work good on gravel, but it's more of a road-oriented, light gravel-oriented bike. So I would say if you're looking to stay on the road, do some of this type of riding, light gravel, then stay with the 700C tire. But if you're looking to do more off-roadish type stuff, then I would probably opt for a 650B size tire. That's going to give you more sidewall. It's going to give you a beefier tire with essentially the same diameter overall. You're just going to have a smaller rim, thicker tire on the 650B, but 700C you're going to have a bigger wheel, a smaller thickness tire. So that's just some things to consider. But the 650B also works really good on the road too. So, you know, I would just strongly suggest going and trying them out maybe and see which one actually works the best for you. But I will say this 700C tire on these Poseidon X bikes works just flawlessly. I love this thing. So it's pretty awesome. So this thing's even going to be able to take the abuse of, you know, jumping off sidewalks like this. You know, it's not going to hurt this bike. This thing is very well made, very high quality. So you're not going to have to worry about that. So I'm going to do a future video on why I think this is a perfect bike for a commuter, person that wants to use a bike for commuting to work and stuff, because I think it is just perfect for that individual. And that's what I use it for too. It's going to and from work. You know, it's just a nice bike for that. And I like how the frame geometry on this really allows the cyclist to sit upright. So for a commuter bike, you're going to be looking ahead instead of like on a full out performance road bike where you're kind of looking down over the bars. This one, it's not the case. You're kind of sitting in an upright position. Thanks for checking out the video. I hope you found this video helpful. I know when I was looking for a new gravel bike, I checked out this Poseidon X, and there was a lot of good videos out there, a lot of different upgrade videos, and it really helped me make a decision on whether or not to purchase this bike. So hopefully this video gave you a little bit of insight on what you're going to be getting with this bike. Like I said, this bike overall is just perfect, except for the brakes and the crankset and the bottom bracket. But those are going to be very easy upgrades that we're going to be doing. So please subscribe to the channel, turn on that notification bell so you can get notified when those videos are coming out. Like I said, the first upgrade video we're going to do is installing the saddle. And at this point, you see I do have the new saddle on it, but we're going to be doing the install and then also doing the compressionless brake housing on this, replacing all the different brake housing that we currently have on this bike to the new type of brake housing that is compressionless. It's hopefully going to tune out the brakes and make it as if they're kind of like hydraulic brakes. So hopefully that stage 1 upgrade is going to solve a lot of our issues. And if not, maybe stage 2 will. So stage 2 I think is going to be, I haven't determined yet if stage 2 is going to be the bottom bracket and crankset, but there is going to be a bunch of different upgrade videos, folks. So please turn on that notification bell so you can get notified of that. But my overall impressions, guys, I don't think you can get another bike under $1,000 or even under $750 like this one. You know, this is going to be it. This is a great entry-level gravel bike for anybody, or a fitness bike. Check out my video of doing fitness with a gravel bike up here. It is just a very, very easy bike to learn how to ride, and it's comfortable for the most part, and it's just great as an all-around fitness type bike. Thanks again for watching this video, and I'll catch you guys later.